And outspeak brave Horatius, the captain of the gate. To every man upon this earth, death cometh soon or late. And how can man die better than facing fearful odds? For the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods.
Marisol absent-mindedly opened the door and found one of her co-workers in the hotel hallway. Lexis Malari was Filipina, just like Marisol, but was much taller than her friend. Rubbing her eyes and trying hard not to nod off while standing upright, Lexis grumbled, "Mari, could you please keep it down? I'm sure you're having the time of your life in there, but the rest of us are trying to sleep." "Yeah, sorry I woke you up. I'll keep it down," Marisol replied. "Try to get some sleep, okay?" Then, Marisol closed her door and turned around. That was when Aisling cornered her. Pushing one arm into Marisol's throat and the other into her chest, the fairy pressed Marisol into a corner and held her there. The questions flowed out of Aisling's mouth like water from a faucet. "What happened? What's going on? When did we get here? Who are you? Who was that woman? Where is Duke Dermont?" Aisling's words did not match the movements of her mouth. Marisol suddenly found herself thinking about the old-style Japanese movies that were badly dubbed into English. After a moment, she regained her wits and found her voice. "Slow down," Marisol said. "I'm just as confused as you are." Aisling hesitated, then loosened her grip on Marisol. "How do you know my name?" Aisling asked. "Where is this place, and how did we get here?" There was another pause. Aisling added, "And who are you?" "Maria de la Soledad Teodora Natividad Reyes," Marisol said, instinctively giving away her full name. I can't believe this is happening." "You and I think the same," Aisling said, releasing Marisol and stepping back. "Now, send me back to Ulster." "What? Back into the Emerald Isle setting?" Marisol responded. I can't do that. I'm just a reader, and I can only read your story for a couple hours each day. Besides, I'm only the beta reader, which means I'm like an editor, so I don't really have that kind of power, you know? But I promise I am enjoying the story." Without really thinking about it, Marisol started gushing. "I really love you, though. The relationship you're building with Dermont is so cute, and I've really enjoyed working with Mac to write your dialogue. I almost died of adorableness when you asked Dermont if he was trying to protect you. Look!" Keeping her hands raised, Marisol backtracked into the main part of her hotel room, kneeling down to her travel bag and retrieving her laptop computer. "See, you're a character in a story I've been reading," Marisol explained. Aisling tilted her head to one side, confused. "A story?" she repeated. Marisol shoved her laptop into Aisling's arms. The fairy winced, unfamiliar with the concept of backlit screens. A moment later, Marisol remembered a crucial detail from last days of the Emerald Isle. "Oh, you're illiterate," Marisol gasped. "I'm sorry, I was so excited I forgot." She took the laptop away and said, how do I say? Someone is writing a book about you, like the chronicler's apprentice was doing for Dermont, except the book is all about you, and your life, and your adventures, and... Aisling held up a hand, as though pleading for Marisol to slow down. "Are you saying that I'm in a different world?" she asked. "This place feels so strange." Before Marisol could respond, the hotel room was filled with blue light for a second time. However, it came from the window this time. Marisol and Aisling both turned their heads to look. The military uniformed princess was standing in the parking lot, looking directly into Marisol's second-floor room through the window. "You figured it out faster than the last one," the strange woman called out. My congratulations. Aisling ran to the window and yelled her reply through the mesh screen, which caused a commotion among other people in the lot. Who are you? What do you want? Are you one of the blue and gold warriors? Several college students, standing at the hotel entrance, pulled out their smartphones and were taking pictures of the women dressed in the AFUNE uniform. Marisol blinked as a sudden realization hit her. AFUNE. She knew those letters, had read them not long ago when she first became a fan of Macavity 116, when she skimmed through one of his older stories. Armed Forces of the United Nations of Earth. As soon as the metaphorical puzzle pieces came together in her mind, Marisol understood just who Aisling was arrayed against. A young woman, vaguely Asian in appearance, pale skin, short black hair, vivid blue eyes. Marisol finally recognized who this woman was supposed to be. Blue and gold warriors, the princess repeated. Oh, right, the enemies from your world. I'm not with them, and they do not exist in this world. As I'm certain you were on the cusp of discovering for yourself, the world you stand upon now is not your own. The military uniformed princess held her arms out wide. Nor is it mine, she finished. Loud voices sounded in the hallway. Someone was knocking on doors. Marisol's heartbeat quickened. She began to think fast. How did I come here? Aisling called out. I brought you here, the princess replied in a matter-of-fact tone. My friends and I worked long and hard to summon you here, along with a few other people you'll have the pleasure of meeting soon. The military uniformed princess raised her voice to a dramatic shout. Welcome, Aisling. Welcome to the wellspring of chaos, the hellish world of the gods of pleasure. Marisol could now feel her fight-or-flight reflexes kicking in, and she was going to choose flight. She opened one of her suitcases, found exactly what she was looking for, and muttered a short prayer of thanks to the Virgin Mary for reminding Marisol to pack one. Never thought a childish hobby was going to save my life someday, Marisol told herself. Come with me now, the princess called up to Aisling. I'll explain the great lie to you, and how we can set right all that's gone wrong in this world. A sinking feeling developed in Marisol's gut. The great lie? She repeated to herself. Oh no, not this again. No, Aisling called back. I refuse. Go away. Oh, I'm hurt, the princess replied. Why won't you? I can sense your evil from here, Aisling replied. I won't go anywhere with you. Marisol managed to put on her helmet and elbow pads. Sensing that she was rapidly running out of time, she abandoned the knee pads and started moving toward Aisling. The princess's words were barely audible as she started to move. When words fail... Aisling! Marisol screamed. The fairy barely had time to react before Marisol grabbed her by the hand and slammed a skateboard onto the floor. Follow me! Marisol yelled. Marisol burst out of her room. Several hotel staff screamed in fright as a young woman careened down the corridor riding atop a skateboard. Aisling ran behind, looking bewildered and on the verge of panic. Out of the way! There's trouble! Marisol yelled as she pushed past an alarmed-looking manager. Marisol rounded a corner and performed a hasty firecracker, balancing on the rear wheels as her skateboard clattered down a flight of stairs. In moments, she was on the ground floor. Are we escaping? Aisling called out, holding one hand in front of her eyes. She overshot the end of the stairway and crashed headlong into the opposing wall. The lobby lights were dazzling her. Yes, Marisol replied. Akira's dangerous. We've got to find somewhere to hide. Truthfully, Marisol was panicking. Knowing the enemy only made her realize just how hopeless the situation was. Akira Jacqueline Robinson was the central villain of the old Stormbreaker universe. a series of 10 stories Macavity 116 wrote long before Marisol became his beta reader. Akira was a powerful telepath, with a long list of psionic powers at her disposal. Marisol was deathly afraid that Akira might round a corner at any moment and obliterate her with but a snap of her fingers. Marisol kept one foot on the board and pushed with the other, racing across the lobby to one of the emergency exits, away from the parking lot. She looked behind just in time to see a flash of red and white color. Aisling had transformed into a small bird and was following at best speed. Marisol burst out of the side door and into the dark surroundings. She did not know the city of Flint very well, but she did know that help was very far away. In front of the hotel was a parking lot containing 2 restaurants. Miller Road, a major thoroughfare, lay beyond. Behind the hotel was a quarter-mile of forest that concealed Schwartz Creek. Looking around, Marisol spotted a sign. "We'll go to the Hooters. Hide behind the security guys while someone calls police," Marisol said. The faintest trace of a plan was coming together. Marisol was starting to wrap her mind around the idea that 2 characters from Macavity's stories were suddenly present in the real world. Marisol knew that she needed to find some place where she could safely pull out her cell phone and contact him. A swallow with red eyes landed on her shoulder and gripped tightly with its little talons. Marisol started to push her skateboard, getting far better speed on concrete than she did on hotel carpets. Marisol and Aisling never made it to the Hooters building. Akira Robinson was standing on the side of the road, just waiting for the pair to pass by. "Please, stop causing trouble for me, Aisling," Akira said. "Just come with me now. It'll be easier for everyone." Marisol wanted to start pushing her skateboard forward again, but she felt as though an invisible hand was clamped around her body, holding her in place. "What kind of character are you?" Akira was speaking to the bird on Marisol's shoulder. "Are you the type of character who won't see reason unless they're beaten in a fight? I can oblige." Akira put on a fake voice. "If I win, then let me have my way with you." Akira resumed her normal tone, harsh and cold. "Is that what you want me to say? I don't like doing things that way, but if you insist, I have so many ways of forcing you to come along and meet your new friends, but we would prefer it if you came along willingly." An invisible force grabbed Marisol and threw her off the skateboard. She hit the pavement helmet first, saving her from a far worse injury, though the fall still hurt badly. Aisling resumed her human form, standing between Marisol and Akira. A powerful gust of wind shook the area as though a tornado had touched down close by. Akira raised both hands to defend herself. "Where are we? Who are you?" Aisling demanded, blasting Akira with gale-force winds that tore up street signs, turned over semi-trucks, and pulled the roof off a nearby house. "I told you," Akira shouted. "The world of the gods, wellspring of chaos. You're speaking nonsense." "Nonsense!" Akira's laugh was somehow audible over the cacophony. "You think this is a joke when we are able to understand each other, even though I'm speaking Japanese and you Irish? Even though the sights, the smells, and the sounds are all so foreign yet familiar, this is the hideous world of the man responsible for all our suffering, for everything wrong in our homes." Aisling's windstorm died away, and Marisol was able to stand up. The fairy was panting. She seemed exhausted. Marisol sat up. She could hear emergency sirens and screams from nearby witnesses. "Come with me, Aisling," Akira tried one last time. "You can save Dermot, save all of Ireland. All you have to do is help us bring punishment and justice to the god responsible for the hell we've lived through." Without warning, without a hint or a sign or a preamble of any kind, a bolt of lightning descended from the sky and struck Akira. Marisol fell to the ground, clutching her ringing ears. The image of Akira's silhouette was burned into her retinas by the sudden flash of light. Aisling had also fallen over, shocked by the sudden blast. Akira Robinson staggered, then shouted, "Back again, Sebakira!" Dozens of eyewitnesses, already frightened by the sudden lightning strike, began to scream as a strange creature loped into view. Marisol rubbed her eyes to make sure she was not seeing things. A large thing was walking toward Akira on two legs, but it did not have feet, hands, or the head of a human. Instead, this creature was a highly anthropomorphized cross between a person and a lion. This half-lion, half-human woman was dressed in the beige robes of a religious monk and even wore a hood over her head. She peered at Akira through dark purple eyes. She did not speak. Marisol was so shocked by everything that was happening that she made no effort to identify the bizarre, lion-like creature walking as though it were human. Marisol could not find any words to describe what happened next. A constellation of lights erupted between the lioness and Akira, flashing and sparking as though a fireworks show was playing out in small scale. After a few moments, Akira clenched her fists and yelled, "Enough!" The conflagration ceased. The lioness-human hybrid took a step back. Her telepathic duel with Akira ended. The first officers of the Flint City Police were arriving on the scene, guns drawn. "While this sort of action is exactly what my new friends are seeking, it is too early. We can't get ahead of ourselves," Akira said. "I'll leave you to do what you will. We'll come back when we're ready to extend our offer again." Akira turned around, as if she were going to step across the road. Instead, a swirling blue vortex portal opened up in midair just in front of her. Again, Marisol thought the portal strongly resembled a Stellaris wormhole. Akira stepped into the vortex portal and vanished from view. A moment later, the portal itself closed and shrank into nothingness. It and the person it carried away were both gone. Police and bystanders alike were converging on the scene, trying to make sense out of what had just happened. The lion-like woman turned to leave, ignoring everyone around her, including the curious youngsters trying to take her picture. "Wait," Aisling called out. "Are you like me? Are you from another world?" The humanoid lioness looked at the fairy, then nodded, her expression mournful. "I am Sebakira. Who are you?" "Aisling," the fairy murmured, suddenly shy. "I'm very far from home, and I don't know what's happening." A few steps away, Marisol tried to hide her confusion. She could not remember who Sebakira was, aside from the fact that she was definitely a Macaulay character. Sebakira held out one of her paws. "Come, we shall learn together," she replied. Aisling took a few steps towards Sebakira, then hesitated, looking back at Marisol, uncertain. Marisol had her smartphone out. She was hastily taking pictures of both Sebakira and Aisling. "Go on," Marisol whispered. "I've got to send a DM." Marisol had recovered from the shock of the events and was just now starting to process the idea that two characters, created by the same author, were talking to one another in front of her like this. On top of that, Marisol had survived an attack by Akira Robinson, the Paradox herself. She could not wait to tell Macavity 116 about this. Marisol felt as though she might die of excitement. Marisol did not get back to her hotel room for another 2 hours. She had to give statements to the police, which mostly consisted of, "I don't know what happened," and "I was so scared for my life, so I ran away." Then she had to get checked over by a member of Asiana Airlines staff to make sure she was safe to fly back to the Philippines. Finally, she took a few minutes to write a lengthy message to Macavity 116 on her phone, explaining everything that had happened and attaching a few pictures she had taken as well. As soon as she sent her message, Marisol remembered that Macavity had once said he lived in mid-Michigan. Perhaps he had already seen Aisling and Akira on the news. The pair of them had caused no small amount of chaos and destruction after all. Returning the door to her room, Marisol was lost in thought. She was already planning to write an email to McCavity116 to tell him about everything that happened tonight in even greater detail. She would not get the chance. Sebak Hira and Aisling were in her room, waiting for her.